I can't believe this, I transmigrated. And I transmigrated in an erotic novel. There are 8 male leads, and they're all yanderes, who only want to imprison the female lead. I let out a sigh of relief, thank goodness I'm not the female lead. Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. Alan, shouldn't Grace White be the one you tied up? Even though I'm not your biological sister, we grew up together. We can't do this kind of thing. I'm really scared now. This room is 8 meters by 8 meters, but there's only a circular bed with a diameter of 2 meters in the center. Surrounding it are mirrors. And I was just a passerby who transmigrated. But now, I'm receiving the treatment of the female lead. I'm tied to the bed, although it's thrilling. But I'm really scared. In front of me is the #1 male lead in the book, Alan Stone. A domineering CEO, extremely cunning and manipulative. He's practically a master of both good and evil. And in the book, the female lead spends the most time on Alan Stone's bed. It should account for about 30% of the time. And me? I'm just a foster daughter of the Stone family, nothing more than a passerby. Just as I was about to enjoy the treatment of a daughter in a wealthy family, and even witness the drama plot in the erotic novel, I was tied to this bed. Carrie, what are you talking about? How could I like that servant Grace? My dear brother, I beg you, don't laugh so lasciviously. I watched as Alan Stone approached me. Wearing only these silk pajama pants, his perfect 8-pack abs exposed to the air, combined with his envy-inducing looks. Honestly, if I didn't know about his cruel methods, I would have fallen in love with him. Alan, I'm hungry. Just as he was only 10 centimeters away from me, I spoke up. Sure enough, he stopped. I believe it. Even though they indulge in lust, they still have humanity. After all, every time the female lead, she's half resistant and half welcoming. She says no, but her body is honest. But I'm different. I don't want any of it. Tisk. Even a random TSK from him sounds so pleasant. There's really nothing I can do against you. He spoke indulgently and unlocked the handcuffs. I turned my head, biting my lip, on the verge of tears. Damn it, I can't fall for his charm. Stay obediently by my side, Carrie. And don't let me catch you interacting with other men, or else I won't be able to control myself. Even though he released me, he still warned me. I sweetly replied, how could that happen? It's only you for me. Damn it, I need to run. After eating, I quickly left this diamond-encrusted cage, using the excuse of going to school. After all, the people inside are too terrifying. I think I should help the female lead. Help her get the love of the male lead. Just as I was lost in thought, the sound of screeching brakes came from behind me. Damn it. You should drive on the main road. You hit me even when I'm on the sidewalk. That truck was heading towards me at 80 miles per hour. My mind raced, following its direction. As long as I run forward, I can avoid it. But just as I was about to run, someone suddenly grabbed me by the hand, pulling me towards his. The next second, I fell into a warm and broad embrace. And that truck missed us by a mere 5 centimeters, grazing my hair. Carrie, are you okay? A worried and gentle voice came from above. I looked up, the golden-eyed man's gaze shimmering. You are worried. But why did you put your hands on my ass? Uncle Conrad. I'm fine. I immediately pushed him away, and the #2 male lead appeared. Conrad King. Alan Stone's uncle, naturally also the uncle of the foster daughter. He is the director of the first hospital and the youngest but unrivaled neurologist. In the novel, this sickly and perverted man even wanted to alter the female lead's cerebral cortex, making her love only him. Carrie, you used to be so close to me when you were young, why are you so distant now? Conrad smiled, like a fox, getting closer to me. I thought of the touch of his hand on my waist just now. Oh my God, I was so scary. Well, uncle, since you're a doctor, shouldn't you go check on that patient over there? I pointed to the truck that had overturned 10 meters away. The driver was probably injured too. But this perverted man, he only had eyes for me. Tisk, there's no way. Carrie, come to Uncle's house for dinner tomorrow. If you don't come, I will come and get you. After making this threat, he finally went to fulfill the duties of a doctor. I turned around and ran. When is a better time to run than now? I don't understand why the treatment the female lead received suddenly fell on me, the background character. I have to find the female lead. The female lead and I are the same age, and we are in the same university and the same class. What a coincidence. After avoiding some unnecessary threats with great difficulty, I finally arrived at school without a scratch. Just as I was passing by the basketball court, I suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough, a basketball came rushing towards my little head like a thunderbolt. What the fuck? There's a net around the basketball court. Can someone explain how this basketball came over to me? Is he blind? I stood still. Based on my guess, there are only two possibilities for this basketball. Either it hits my head or it gets caught by a pair of big hands. Baby, you're not even trying to dodge. Are you sure I'll come? Congratulations, you guessed right. Indeed, the basketball was neatly caught by a pair of big hands. There was a sunny and teasing voice above my head. He came from behind me and enveloped me. Slightly bending over, when he spoke, his breath brushed against my ear. The voice was sunny, but when I slightly glanced sideways, I met his gaze. Damon Watson, the school bully. In the novel, he will lock the female lead in the gymnasium to work, and without warning, he even does something to stimulate her in the restroom. Unlike his sunny appearance, Damon Watson's mind is twisted. Thank you. There should be no intersection between me, the background character, and this school bully. Just a thank you? That is not enough, baby. His twisted hand slowly moved up, from my clothes, it slipped in. I shuddered all over and jumped forward. Hey, we're not familiar. Not familiar? Okay, we'll be familiar soon. He directly pressed his shoulder against mine and pinned me against the net on the edge of the basketball court. And with people coming and going, not a single person helped me. He stared at me unabashedly and aggressively. The feeling of being stared at is not wonderful. Just as I was thinking about whether to step on his foot, poke his eye, or kick his groin, a gentle voice came from the side. Damon Watson. Let go of my person. At the moment I heard the voice, I thought it was a hero. The moment I turned around and saw the person, I knew that he was another demon. Gary Bennett, the campus heartthrob and top student, adored by many female students. But they didn't know that beneath this seemingly gentle exterior, there was another yandere psychopath. What I remember most clearly is how he used tutoring as an excuse to press the female lead on the bed and do some pornographic things. If the female lead cannot recite the word, the time will be increased by 1 minute. If the female lead answers a question incorrectly, the time will be increased by 1 minute. He was like an old ox, tirelessly working. I felt hopeless. Because these two people, later on, became partners. Damon Watson hugged me tightly and teasingly looked at Gary Bennett. What's wrong? Do you also like my baby? How about it? Together? In Damon's embrace, I listened to his words and rolled my eyes. It's funny. But I'm not interested in a threesome. Carrie doesn't like someone like you who doesn't even have a brain. Clearly, the yandere Gary is not interested either. His gaze fell on me, and even though it was in the sunlight, I felt a chill down my spine. My gaze fell on the book in his hand. Whenever I see a book, I get scared. In that erotic novel, how long did the female lead stay in male lead's bed? No, I have to avoid these two people. Soon, I found my target. Grace, I've been looking for you for so long. Woo, my female lead, I finally see you. Grace White, true to her name. She's a girl who looks like snow, with skin as white as snow. I remember when I read that novel, I was always hiding under the covers, the author's detailed description of Grace White's body. Like when Damon touched her butt. That soft and tender touch made his mind wander. My gaze involuntarily fell on her impressive figure, and then I looked down at my barely bee-sized chest. Male leads, were you all blind? Grace was actually your female lead. I pushed Damon away and directly took hold of Grace's arm. Grace, let's go to the classroom. Damon rubbed his hands. Carrie darling, be careful, if I catch you, you won't be able to come to school for a week. Damn it, it was a threat. Now that I have the female lead, what am I afraid of? You pervert. I started acting recklessly. You are so cute. The one speaking was Gary. With a faint smile, he looked at me. Miss, I'm just a servant. Familiar words. Every time Alan pressed Grace down on the bed, she would cry out these words. Master, I'm just a servant. This was obviously a sentence of inferiority, but it made her hit even harder on the bed. Men always cannot control themselves when they are addicted to lust. But I was different from Alan. I waved my hand arrogantly, showing a lady's demeanor. What nonsense! You are my Carrie Stone's good friend. I'll pay for all your expenses from now on. I'm very proud. Even though Alan is a pervert. But he's generous with his money. Even though Gar is a pervert too. But he gives red envelopes even more generously. I know, Grace must have been deeply moved by me. There's no way around it, as a hero like me, I must save this girl who has fallen into the web of love. Grace leaned closely against me, her softness against my chest. I understand. If I were a man, I wouldn't be able to resist either. What are you doing? A dangerous voice came from behind. Just by listening to the voice, I shivered. Even the two yandere in front of me, one top student and one school bully, restrained their expressions. If I'm not mistaken, the person standing behind me is the yandere that Grace fears the most. Hubert Carter. His name sounds gentle and refined. But the techniques used by Gary were all learned from Hubert Carter. Hubert was the second one to possess the body of the female lead. As a result, the female lead always had a negative impression of him. That office, Grace only entered once and never dared to step in again. As for what happened inside, I know very well, it must have been some explicit scenes. I swallowed my saliva. Mr. Carter, Damon is threatening Carrie. My female lead spoke up. I looked at Grace beside me in surprise. The introverted girl actually spoke up for me. Wow, I'm so touched. Hubert narrowed his eyes. Carrie, come to my office, and the three of you, go to class. When I heard this, despair filled my heart. That office, I really don't want to go. I turned my head back, wanting to see if anyone could save me. When I met Damon's gaze, he raised an eyebrow at me and even blew me a kiss. Gary, he just kept staring at me. He didn't say a word. Wasn't he just talkative a moment ago? Carrie. Hubert's voice came from afar. He put his hand in his pocket, his dangerous gaze fixed on me. In order to prevent things from escalating further, I gave in. I walked into the office, and the next second, the door was closed. Click. The door was locked. I quickly turned around, stepped back, on guard. Mr. Carter, it's class time now. He took off his coat. Unbuttoned his shirt, revealing his wheat-colored chest. I swallowed my saliva. I have to admit, these yanderes, any one of them would be considered top tier in terms of looks. The next class is self-study. The serious expression on his face disappeared, and a slanted smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He took a step forward that was as long as all my previous steps combined. He cornered me. I leaned against his desk while he continued to move forward. He got closer. I could only lean back as hard as I could. Just when I thought he was going to get rough, he stopped. Do you know how many points you scored in the last monthly exam? Is he really talking about grades? Could it be that I misunderstood him? I turned around and saw Hubert reach out with his long hand, grabbing a report card. Although he was pressed against me, he seemed to have no other intentions. He just looked at the report card seriously. In all subjects, you ranked last, even Damon ranked second to last. I was shocked. The original owner's grades were so bad? Just as I was shocked, Hubert made a move, his hand resting on my waist. He slightly bent down. Behind those glasses were countless wicked intentions. Carrie, how do you think I should punish you? Do you like this sofa? Or do you prefer this desk? His words had hidden meanings. My mind was spinning rapidly now. Please, I'm not just a loose woman. There's a pen holder next to me, I can just pick it up and hit him on the head, then escape. I can also lift my knee and strike his vulnerable area directly. My hesitation is whether I will face stronger retaliation later on. After all, I'm just a weak little girl.